I'm going to give you two numbers, and they're going to seem like they contradict each other. Number one, 60% of restoration companies in our study saw web traffic decline year over year. That's the worst rate of any industry we measured. Number two, only about 20% of restoration revenue comes from web-based discovery in the first place. So, if you're a restoration owner, your first reaction to that second number is probably relief. My leads come from insurance referrals, adjuster relationships, TPA networks, repeat business. I don't depend on web traffic the way law firms do. And you're right, you don't. Not yet. But that buffer you're relying on, it's a closing window, and we have the data to prove it. We studied 80 restoration companies as part of the Business Visibility Index, and what we found tells us a story every restoration owner and operator needs to hear. And here's what I want you to pay attention to as we go through this, because there's a moment in this video where I'm going to explain why your insurance referrals are already leaking, even the ones that look like they're converting. There's a step happening between the referral and the phone call that most restoration owners don't even know exists, and it's costing you jobs. Stick around for that. So let's start with what we actually measured. We scored every restoration company on two dimensions. Is the owner visible to AI, and is the company visible to AI? The average owner visibility score for restoration was 28.7 out of 100. The average company visibility score was 36.3. That's a 7.6 point gap. The owners are less visible than their companies. What does this mean in practice? It means that when someone asks ChatGPT or Perplexity to recommend a restoration company in their city, AI might be able to find the business, a directory listing, a Better Business Bureau page, maybe a Google business profile. But if it can't find the person behind it, no press coverage, no trade publication mentions, no podcast appearances, no editorial citations, the company exists as a faceless entry in a directory, and AI has no reason to recommend it over the next faceless entry. In the full 400 company study, the businesses where both the owner and the company were visible to AI grew traffic at 2.5% year over year. The businesses where neither was visible declined by 28.1%. Restoration sits heavily in that second group. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Jimmy, I don't need web traffic. My business runs on relationships. And that's exactly why the next part matters. Because those relationships, they're leaking, and I'm about to show you where. Here's how restoration has always worked, and I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. Referrals account for about 30% of top lead sources, canvassing 25%, repeat business another 14%. The best operators in the space derive half their revenue from referrals and a quarter from repeat business. TPA managed work can represent up to a third of revenue, and that number is trending up. These channels still work. Nobody is saying they don't. But here's what's happening underneath them that nobody's tracking. When a homeowner files a water damage claim and the adjuster recommends a contractor, what does the homeowner do next? They Google the company. They might ask AI about it. They check reviews. They look for validation that the person they were just referred to is legitimate and trustworthy. If they find a website with no content, a LinkedIn page that hasn't been touched in 2 years, and zero third-party press or editorial presence, a percentage of those referrals don't convert. The referral got them to the door. The absence of earned presence lost them at the threshold. The businesses in our study with visible owners convert referrals at a higher rate. Why? Because the Google search that happens between the TPA referral and the phone call validates what the adjuster already said. The invisible ones lose that validation step. You're not losing the referrals, you're losing the conversion of that referral. And that's invisible in the numbers because you never knew the lead existed in the first place. Now that's the homeowner side. But there's an angle to this that hits even harder if your business runs on TPA relationships, and that's something almost nobody in restoration is talking about. Let me get into that. TPAs manage the relationship between insurance carriers and the restoration contractors. They're the gatekeepers. Getting on a TPA's preferred list is valuable. Staying on it requires compliance, documentation, consistent performance. You already know all of this. But there's a layer above the TPA relationship that most operators completely ignore. Adjusters are people. They have preferences. They notice who shows up in their research. When an adjuster is evaluating whether to add a new contractor to their network, or when they're deciding between two qualified contractors for a specific job, the one whose owner has been featured in a trade publication, who spoke at an industry event, who has third-party citations AI can find, that person has an advantage that has nothing to do with the TPA scoring system. AI visibility doesn't replace the TPA channel. It makes you more referable within it. It gives the adjuster a reason to recommend you that goes beyond they're on the list. It gives the homeowner a reason to say yes to the referral instead of shopping around. And here's where the part makes this even more urgent. About 46% of all Google searches have local intent. AI overviews now appear on up to 40% of business-related local queries. The adjusters and property managers in your market are already using these tools. The question is whether your name comes up when they do. Now, I want to talk about the conversion math, because even though restoration only gets about 20% of revenue from web discovery, the quality of what's coming through that channel has changed dramatically, and it changes the way you should think about that 20%. AI referral traffic converts at 4.4 times the rate of traditional Google organic. That's SEMrush's data. Seer Interactive found ChatGPT referrals converting at 15.9% compared to Google's organic at 1.76. Think about what that means for restoration specifically. 80% of your revenue comes from offline channels. The web-dependent 20% doesn't sound like much, but when the traffic coming through that 20% converts at 4.4 times, the revenue impact is disproportionate to the traffic volume. A restoration company getting 30 monthly visitors from AI search generates more qualified leads from those 30 visits than from 130 organic visitors at the baseline rate. 30 visitors, more qualified leads than 130. Now, here's the part your analytics is missing entirely. When AI recommends your company by name, most large language model interfaces don't give a clickable link. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, the user gets a name with no link. Then they open a browser tab and Google you. In your analytics, that shows up as a branded organic search, not as an AI referral. The real influence of AI visibility is being undercounted in every standard analytics setup. You might already be getting AI-driven leads and not even know it. So here are your three paths. And these are based on actual median revenue and observed traffic rates from the study, with restoration's 20% web dependency factored in. Path 1, current path, invisible to AI. The web-dependent portion erodes. Offline channels hold out but gradually weaken as reduced digital presence erodes brand awareness. Revenue trends down. Path 2, a visible brand. Company visible, owner invisible. Traffic stabilizes as the company becomes discoverable by AI. Referral validation improves. That Google search between the TPA referral and the phone call starts working for you instead of against you. Path 3, visible brand plus visible owner. The owner builds earned authority in trade publications, at industry events, on podcasts. AI referral premium kicks in. Adjusters and property managers recognize the name before they check the TPA list. Close rates improve. The owner becomes the reason someone picks the company over the one next to it on the preferred vendor list. The gap between Path 1 and Path 3 is real, and it compounds every year. Here's the good news. The bar is lower than you think. None of the 80 restoration companies in this study reached the authority tier. The highest owner visibility score was 60.3. Nobody has broken through. That means the competitive field is wide open. Getting from invisible to visible in restoration often comes down to 3 or 4 earned placements, a quote in R&R magazine, or qualified remodeler, a podcast appearance on a restoration industry show, a contributed article for a trade publication, a speaking slot at RIA or a regional restoration event. These are sources AI trains on. These are citations that move the score. Now, your schema markup is fine. 92% of businesses in the study already had it. Your website is being indexed. The plumbing works, so to speak. What's missing is earned third-party content that AI recognizes as credible. And in restoration, almost nobody has built it. The first movers in this space will have an outsized advantage because there's nobody to compete with yet. The insurance referral channel isn't going away, but the businesses that layer AI visibility on top of it will convert more of those referrals, win more TPA evaluations, and build the kind of earned authority that makes an adjuster recommend you by name instead of by list position. If you want to see where your restoration company stands right now, we've built a free AI visibility calculator. It takes about 2 minutes. It'll estimate your position and show you a 3-year revenue projection. The link is in the description. If you want your actual numbers, you can request a free visibility audit. We'll run the same AI query methodology from this study against your company, in your market, with your actual competitors. The link is down there too. And if you want the full data about all 400 companies, all 5 industries, the complete restoration deep dive, the full Business Visibility Index report is also available at businessvisibilityindex.com. The field is wide open. Nobody in restoration has claimed this ground yet. The question is whether you're going to be the one who does. I'm Jimmy Gibson. If this was useful, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.